In the shadow of gathering storm clouds, one man stood alone at the helm of a fracturing republic. He was never married, he had no children, and yet, for 4 critical years, the future of the American Union rested upon his shoulders. This is the story of James Buchanan, the bachelor president who, through personal sorrow and national crisis, sought to hold a divided nation together under the superintendence of an overruling Providence. Welcome to episode 15 of Faith and Freedom, the presidents who built America. What would you do if you were the last president before the Civil War, and every choice seemed to pull the country closer to the abyss? Born in 1791 in a log cabin in Pennsylvania, James Buchanan was a son of Irish immigrants who instilled in him a fierce work ethic and a deep Presbyterian faith. By age 18, he had graduated from Dickinson College, survived a duel, and began a remarkable legal and political career that would span more than 4 decades. He served in the Pennsylvania legislature, the U.S. House, the Senate, as Minister to Russia, Secretary of State under President Polk, and Minister to Great Britain. No other man in American history entered the presidency with more extensive public service. Yet beneath this polished diplomat was a man shaped by profound personal loss. His fiancée, Ann Coleman, died suddenly in 1819, and Buchanan never married. He carried that sorrow quietly for the rest of his life, a private grief that gave him a unique empathy for a nation on the verge of breaking apart. When Buchanan took the oath of office in March of 1857, the United States was already deeply divided over slavery and states' rights. The Dred Scott decision had just been handed down. Kansas was bleeding from violent conflict, and sectional hatred was rising. Buchanan believed that the Constitution gave him one supreme duty: to preserve the Union. He saw himself not as a partisan, but as a steward of the fragile compact forged by the founders. Through the struggles of a nation divided, let us examine James Buchanan's positive accomplishments as President of the United States. First, he navigated the Panic of 1857 with fiscal restraint and constitutional principle. When the financial crisis struck in August of 1857, triggered by bank failures and collapsing international trade, Buchanan refused to expand federal power through bailouts or massive intervention. Instead, he signed legislation authorizing the issuance of treasury notes to stabilize government operations and encourage economic activity without distorting the free market. He proposed far-reaching reforms, requiring banks to maintain a 1-to-3 ratio of gold and silver to their paper circulation and deposits, and advocated that any suspension of the specie payments should trigger the immediate liquidation of the offending bank, a civil death penalty to promote sound banking. These measures, rooted in the limited government philosophy, helped the economy begin its natural recovery by 1859 without creating dangerous precedents of federal overreach. Second, he strengthened America's position abroad through steady diplomacy. Buchanan successfully pressured Britain to withdraw influence from Central America, securing reparations from Mexico, Costa Rica, and Colombia for damages to American property, and winning important transit rights through Nicaragua. He also advanced American trade interests in Asia. His envoy helped secure the United States' inclusion in the Treaty of Tianjin with China, opening new ports and trade opportunities. Additionally, he resolved the Paraguay expedition peacefully and intensified efforts to suppress the illegal slave trade, accomplishing more in this area than any previous president. These quiet but effective diplomatic victories protected American interests and expanded trade routes without unnecessary conflict. Third, he worked to hold the Union together during the Secession crisis. As Southern states began to secede after Lincoln's election in 1860, Buchanan declared secession unconstitutional, yet maintained that the federal government had no legal right to coerce a state back into the Union by force. He reinforced federal forts where he could, supported last-ditch compromise efforts such as the Corrin Amendment, which sought to protect slavery in the states, and kept federal government functioning amid resignation and chaos. His measured approach, though ultimately unable to prevent war, brought critical time for the incoming Lincoln administration and prevented an immediate armed confrontation during the transition period. Fourth, Buchanan remained a man of personal integrity and quiet faith amid crisis. Throughout his presidency, Buchanan regularly attended Presbyterian services and sought divine guidance in prayer. In his final message to Congress, he spoke openly on reliance upon the overruling providence of God. In an age of extremism, he chose duty over popularity and steadfast constitutional principle over panic, modeling the kind of faithful service the founders themselves had envisioned. James Buchanan was not a perfect man, nor did he perfectly resolve the crisis of his time. Yet, in the crucible of a national division, he consistently turned to prayer and to the Constitution, trusting that Providence had a purpose for this republic. Today, as our own nation faces deepening divisions politically, culturally, and morally, Buchanan's story offers a sobering yet hopeful lesson. Leadership in crisis is not always measured by dramatic victories or bold proclamations. Sometimes it is measured by quiet faithfulness, refusing to expand government power beyond its constitutional bounds, seeking diplomatic solutions before conflict, and placing ultimate trust in the overruling providence of God rather than in human schemes. In our time of polarization, we are reminded that preserving unity requires both moral courage and a humble dependence on the same God who sustained Buchanan and every president before him. The God who guided the nation through its darkest hour is still sovereign today. He calls us, as he called Buchanan, to stand firm in truth, pray without ceasing, and trust that his purposes will prevail. The bachelor president, who never had a family of his own, gave everything he had to hold the American family together, one faithful step at a time. The God who sustained James Buchanan in the crucible of crisis is the same God who watches over us and our nation today. I want to thank you for joining me on this journey through the American presidents. If this episode has encouraged you, please take a moment to like and comment and share this with others. Your support helps me to continue telling these vital stories of faith and freedom. Next week, we'll step into the fiery trial of Abraham Lincoln. Until then, may we walk in the same spirit of faithful service that marked the life of President James Buchanan. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. I wish you a very blessed day. Bye for now.